What is up, my friends? We are back after a week away, and it is lovely to be here with you once again. I think it's fair to say a lot has happened since we last spoke, so we'll go through it all tonight. We'll discuss the Trent situation, the Virgil situation, the Mo situation, and of course lots of other bits and pieces as well. Once again, I want to thank you all for coming and giving up some of your evening to come and have a chat with me. I do appreciate it. So let's get stuck into it. Loads to get through. We're going to be talking, of course, about the developing situation around Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk's contract. Of course, we're going to have to discuss the Trent situation. Frimpong has been linked as coming in. The club have a lot of faith as well in Conor Bradley, which is understandable. But we'll talk through it all tonight. We'll be asking what other summer signings we can expect. We'll be discussing the new double transfer window that we're going to have this summer. One for 10 days and then the correct one starting about a week later. So we'll give you the dates of that. There's some fresh information around the Manchester City 115 charges. Well, or their case in general. We'll be talking about Kirkes and lots of other interesting, well, at least I hope, interesting bits and pieces. So yeah, loads to get through. Right, let me just say a couple of quick thank yous to people who'd send in messages just as we were going live. So let me get this one in. Mark said, we're back. And indeed we are, Mark, my man. Indeed we are. Luke, how are you? Luke said, sup Craig, how are you and your family doing? Are you surprised that your club hasn't put any positive news out there because of Trent? I think that positive news is starting to trickle out now, and I will go through that momentarily, Luke. But thank you, mate, for being with us for 19 months as a member. TOTT2KZ1, how are you, bro? The GOAT is back. Welcome back, Craig. Glad you had a good holiday, mate. Sending love to you and the family. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Always do. And Doreen as well said, hope you had a great holiday. Good to have you back. It was a good holiday until I awoke to a message from David Lynch threatening me with the police today and calling me a bully, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Until then, let's go through some of the news, and I don't want to give you the headline about the whole Lynch nonsense. I mean, we'll talk about that later on, but we do have quite a bit to go through, and I'm going to be kicking off tonight with a little bit of an update around the Manchester City situation. So I wanted to very quickly just give you something that has been reported here from Jacob Whitehead, and we'll see what you guys think of it. So he said, exclusive, the mysterious person X at the heart of the Premier League's legal battle with Manchester City is Jabbar Mohammed, who was at the time a key aide to Abu Dhabi's ruler. Mohammed bin Zayed, I believe his name is. Mohammed served as the general director of the Crown Prince's Court, while another senior CPC representative, Mohammed Al Mazuri, sat on Manchester City's board. Raises questions over whether Abu Dhabi's leadership were aware of the controversial payments. So it looks like there's more headaches in store there for Manchester City, although we don't know the outcome of the arbitration hearing. You can start to see now that a little bit more information is starting to trickle out, so we'll go through all of that one as well. Right, some more messages to go through really quickly. Let me just get these up on the screen. Mutz, how are you, bro? Hope you and the family had a great holiday. Thank you, my man. It was good, as I mentioned, until we got home to those messages, which my wife hasn't taken very kindly to, but we'll discuss that a bit later on. Michael said, great to see you, young man. Yes, I mean you, Craig. Hugs. I love it. Well played, my man. Well played. Peter as well said, it's great that you're here again. I hope your vacation was great. We couldn't wait to see you. You'll never walk alone. Sending love to all of us. Nice to see you guys. It was lovely. Thank you, Peter. The weather wasn't great, but you know what? It doesn't matter. When you're away with the family, does it? It's about spending some quality time together. And always the way, when you go away, a big story then breaks. And of course, the Trent news came out while I was away. So I am going to go through that and lots more. But beforehand, I have a new Surfshark ad to play you. And it's a little bit shorter than the last one. So I promise you, I will be back in just 65 quick seconds for your feedback on this new Surfshark ad read. And of course, to get stuck straight in to the Trent story and give you my take on the whole situation. Bear with me. This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. Right, my friends, as promised, we are back, and thank you to our sponsor Surfshark, and thank you of course to you guys for your patience. So look, I guess the first topic I have to discuss is Trent Alexander-Arnold. So towards the end of my vacation, when we were away, the story came out that Trent had made his decision and that he was going to Real Madrid. This was then backed up by many journalists who came out saying that Trent had agreed to go to Madrid. You've seen all the tweets from Fabrizio Romano and the like. And I tried to give my take on it in the pre-recorded videos I put up, but what I want to stress here, first and foremost, is I don't think there's any right or wrong way to feel about this situation. I think it's a very personal thing. Some people will thank Trent for his service. Absolutely sound about that. Some people will feel a little bit annoyed by the situation. Again, absolutely fine about that. But ultimately, it is what it is. And we are where we are. And it looks like Trent Alexander-Arnold will become a Real Madrid player in the summer, maybe before the Club World Cup, maybe a little bit later. For those of you who don't know that situation, Real Madrid are of course taking part in the new Club World Cup that is taking place this summer. And Trent Alexander-Arnold's contract with Liverpool runs until, I believe, the end of June. And that would mean that Trent would be unavailable to play for Real Madrid for the first 3 games, the group stage games of the Club World Cup. Now, there was talk that maybe they offered to pay Liverpool a fee to get Trent out a little bit earlier. And this all ties in with the new transfer window that I was saying to you guys previously. And that transfer window today has been confirmed. So now we know that there are going to be 2 summer transfer windows. There's going to be a shortened one between June the 1st and June the 10th. And that will, of course, allow clubs to sign players up for the Club World Cup. Maximum of 2 players, I believe, will be allowed to be added in during this period. And then the full transfer window opens up June the 16th. And that will run all the way through to September the 1st. So there's 2 trains of thought. Either Trent goes to Real Madrid a bit early, having Madrid paid a little release to Liverpool, or he misses the group stage games and goes and joins up at Real Madrid for the knockout part of the Club World Cup. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that it's looking like he's leaving Liverpool. Well, he is leaving Liverpool. What really intrigued me, though, and this kind of leads into the whole, I guess, David Lynch thing I was talking about a minute ago, is Fabrizio Romano put out a post the other day to say that Trent was told flat out by Real Madrid that this was going to be done on his terms, on their terms, or he can go and sign a new deal with Liverpool or whatever. And Fabrizio Romano said that Trent agreed with this immediately. I'm sure you guys have seen this. So we thought about that, and I said, well, hang on a minute. Were we or were we not told by many journalists that the club were confident that Trent was going to stay and that Trent was negotiating with the club and everybody was optimistic? That's what's been put out there. That's what's been spoken about. So I said, what happened to this, lads? And I tagged a few journalists. I say I don't actually run the Twitter account, but I did ask them to post it. So then I come home from holidays today, and I wake up to a message from David Lynch, a threatening message from David Lynch that starts off with, "Stop using my name for clout, you stupid see you next Thursday," or "see you next Tuesday," whatever phrase that you like. Now, one thing that I have to clear up here is, firstly, he goes on to accuse me of being a bully and threatens me with the police. Now, in what world have I ever bullied David Lynch or anybody else? I give an opinion based off my observations as a fan. He accused me of sending people to go and bombard him with negative messages, which is absolutely flat out false. You guys know that every time I've spoken about him, I've, if anything, been protective of him. And never once, because it's a low-life thing to do, have I asked anybody to go and abuse him or any other journalist. I'm a big boy, I speak for myself, and I stand over all of my own words. So if he doesn't like being called a coward, tough. Go to the police, have them laugh at you for not being able to take feedback. And here's the thing, David. I'm sure you're going to be watching this because seemingly you're looking at everything I'm doing. No way am I a bully, and no way have I ever asked anybody to intimidate you or anybody else. In fact, you threatening to come to our live show, to put the police onto us, had my wife very upset earlier on. And I don't take too well to my wife being upset. So if you want to run to the police because the big bad man in Ireland called you a coward, you crack on. But here's the thing. I do think you're a coward. I also think all of the other journalists that, in my opinion, and remember this, David, I'm entitled to an opinion, in my opinion, have been doing a disservice to the readers and the viewers. You want to step into the YouTube world. You want to take money from this environment. But you forget one important aspect here, David. We're in the opinions business. So if you want to be in our world, you operate the rules of engagement, which is, if I don't like something you say, I'm calling you on it. If you don't like that, you don't get to run to the police like a wet wipe, screaming harassment. Show me one DM from me, just one, where I've instigated a conversation. You called me a cunt. You called me a stupid cunt. And you think that that makes me a bully? You absolute wet wipe. So go ahead, run to the police, have them laugh you out of the police station because you can't take criticism. If anybody has anything negative to say about your writings, your articles or your videos, that's got nothing to do with me. I've never asked or instigated any hate towards you. In fact, I've defended you. So to get that today from you is absolutely pathetic, and it hasn't gone unnoticed, and it will not be forgotten. Not by me. My wife is absolutely furious about this. So go ahead, go to the police and have them laugh at you for the coward and little wet wipe that you clearly are. If you don't like people criticising your work, like I've said, be better. Be better. Because we're in the opinion business. You don't get to run to the headmaster when somebody calls you out. If you don't like it, tough. Find a new line of work. But the days of you and other journalists sitting on social media feeling that you can look down your noses at me or other fan accounts or content creators is over. I'm telling you that now. It's over. You don't get to go online and call people bad firms. Not me, by the way, others. You don't get to do that. Sit there and call other people bullies. You can't take criticism. Tough. Grow up. Be a man. So feel free to come along to our live show like you've threatened. Go right ahead. You're very welcome to come along. But like I've said, I'm entitled to my opinion and I'm going to give it whether you like it or not. But you best fucking apologise to me, Lynch, because never have I directed any hate or any threatening behaviour towards you ever. That's a serious accusation. So if anybody here wants to run to the police, let's see what they make of you calling me a stupid cunt in a DM after you blocked us like a coward, unblocked us just to write that message, then blocked us and ran off again like a little coward threatening to go to the police. Go right ahead. They'll laugh at you as anybody with a brain cell would because it's pathetic. So that's the end of my situation. That's the last I'm going to say on it. But once again, you don't get to dictate to me or any other Liverpool fan what I feel, what I say. I built my platform. I have the right and the freedom to do what you can't, David, which is be honest. Don't like it? Tough shit. Do something about it, like I've said. But you aren't threatening my family. You aren't upsetting my wife. And now, my friend, you have made this fucking personal. So best of luck. Crack on with the police. We'll see how you get on. Fucking wet wipe. So anyway, as we were saying, to bring this back to Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't think there is a right and wrong way to feel about it. I feel like my reading of the situation was right all the way through. I feel like this was done intentionally and he did run down his contract. But he's free to do so, as I've said all the way through. I don't like the way he's handled it, but ultimately, he's a player that served the club with distinction and he's going off on his way. That's the way I see it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I would have rather he stayed, but it's not your decision. It's not my decision. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold's decision, and he'll live with that decision. So for me, that's my take on the situation. I certainly won't be adding to any of the criticism or hate that he gets, Trent, because, yeah, I feel disappointed as a Liverpool fan. I think that's only natural. But it's not for me to tell anybody else how to feel. I think Trent's made the wrong decision. I think time will prove that he's made the wrong decision. But it is what it is, you know? And if it leads to a situation, which, by the way, there is a positive to all of this, if it leads to a situation where Mohamed Salah and Virgil stay, which it's looking likely, it's probably the outcome we all thought was going to happen, if we're being really honest. So, for me, a month ago, if someone said to me, right, Craig, I think that Trent's going to go, but I think Virgil and Mo will stay, I'd have probably sat here and gone, kind of what I expected. So, that's my take on it. Feel free to let me know yours, of course, in the comments. But I won't be burning any shirts or anything like that. He's made his decision. He served the club well. I was grateful for him when he was here. I'd rather he stayed, but ultimately, it's the young man's career, and I'm not going to tell him what to do. I did, by the way, find the whole debate, is that the right word, between Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher on the overlap. I found that one very interesting. And it's certainly been a topic that's got Liverpool fans heated, right? You know, who is to blame for this situation? Or is there anybody to blame for this situation? I think there probably is blame, but at the end of the day, dwelling on it doesn't matter. It's done. It's dusted. He's going. We just need to look forward at this point. So that's my take on it. Again, let's go into the comments and see how you guys are feeling. Right, where are we? Okay, Nick. Let me get to your comment, Nick. Jeez, so many to catch up on. Right, let's work from this one. Danny, I didn't bring this one up on screen. Welcome back, Craig. Hope your holiday was good. It was lovely, thank you. The weather wasn't great, but you always take that risk when you go over to Spain during March. But honestly, it was a lovely trip. Got to meet up with Lee Gunner as well, which was lovely. Absolute gent. And we went to watch the Elche game. And yeah, took in a live match as well while we were away. So yeah, glad to be back. But I missed everyone. You know, I really did. I missed everyone, and I'm glad to be back chatting with you all. Right, so Rusba said, is Salah's news true? If yes, I'm ecstatic. So, as the day has progressed, there's been more and more stuff starting to come out around the situation with Mo. And there was a journalist, let me just grab his name here for you. 1 second, I just want to make sure I get the right information for you. So there was a journalist whose name I believe is @Masraoui, so MASRAWI if you're on social, and this story said it makes a lot of sense that Mohamed Salah is now getting much closer to renewing with Liverpool because Liverpool know basically that they have a bigger pot of money now because Trent isn't there. And it's common sense, but I just hope that we do get to that point where we get the positive outcome. David Ornstein, speaking about this, said Liverpool are optimistic that both will renew their contracts and that it's just a matter of time. That would be brilliant. And I don't know about everybody else, but I think this would maybe be the best of a bad situation. Trent made his mind up. That's not on you. That's not on me. He made his decision. But if we end up with Mo and Virgil both staying, I think that's an outcome that at least I can live with. Obviously, we'll talk summer transfer business and what's going to happen there. We don't know what's going to happen there yet, but that's not a bad start. And at least then we know the spine of the team, minus Trent, will still be together. So yes, in answer to the super chat, it does look like this story is heading in the right direction for a positive outcome. I don't know if Liverpool have maybe moved the goalposts on the offer for Mohamed Salah and Virgil, but there's been lots of optimism from journalists today. Not just ones that cover the club, journalists that more broadly cover football as well, that we may get a positive outcome in this one. And I'd be very grateful as a fan if that's the case. So, Colzer said, Bobby Firmino leaves for free and he's a hero. Trent leaves for free and he's a trader. I don't understand it. We're bigger than any one player. So, again, I have never called Trent a trader. So I don't know who your comment has been aimed at, my friend. But I think it's understandable that some people are worked up about this situation. I feel disappointed, Colzer. I can't lie. I feel disappointed that Trent chose to do this. But ultimately, like you said, we are bigger than any one player. And one thing you mentioned there, mate, was Bobby Firmino leaving the club for free. I think that situation in its own, the fact that players are leaving Liverpool for free, is one that many of us feel a bit confused about, being a club that want to try and make every penny count. Seeing so many of these good players go out the door, which is hard enough, but then to go out for free with no transfer fees, and then know that you're probably not going to have as much money as you want to spend in the summer, I think that's probably what causes a lot of frustration from many fans. But again, you haven't seen me call him a traitor anywhere, because I wouldn't say that of somebody who served our club. I can feel disappointed in him, and I do, but I wouldn't call him a traitor. If he played for United now, different story altogether. Davino, welcome back, my friend. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you being here. Don said, hey Craig, great to see you back. Tough enough time on the pitch, off the pitch, but I'm absolutely buzzing for the boys to go and win this title. So am I. I cannot wait. And I'm glad that there's no real wobbles about us winning this title. We're going to win it. Enjoy it. Hopefully we can enjoy it now, knowing that Mohamed Salah and Virgil's futures are going to be with the club, because that'll certainly make me enjoy it a lot more anyway. This one from Connor Mullen, and thank you, Connor, for your membership to the channel, mate, with 20 months. Really appreciate that support. Said, I'm over Trent, to be honest. It's more the fact that Trent still hasn't come out and said anything, not a word from him. The part that confuses me, Connor, is this thing, right? This part is a part that I'm really confused by, because I don't know what he was trying to portray there with this. Like, everybody yapping, well, they were probably right, Trent, weren't they? So, that I don't get. But I don't feel he ever downed tools for us. I do feel like he had games where his work rate wasn't good enough. But I agree with Colzer in that we're bigger than this as a club. You know, any one person shouldn't define our football club, even if it is a local boy like Trent. But it's up to each person to say how they feel about the situation. You know, I don't think there is a right and wrong way to feel. You know, it's up to each person. If he left for a decent fee, I wouldn't be annoyed, said Nick. So, do you know what? I want to ask that as a question, Nick, because I feel like it's a really valid point that you've made. And I want to ask everybody about that. 1 second. Right, so what I'm going to ask is, would you feel less frustrated if we got a bigger fee for Trent? Yes, no, or I'm not upset either way. Because maybe some people just feel like this was a natural end. So we'll leave that running in the background. You guys can crack on and vote away in it, and we'll see what people are feeling. Because it's an interesting point, Nick. I've mentioned a few times that for me, I'd always thought that if you did lose a player like Trent, that you would lose him maybe for a massive, colossal fee. Bit of a Freudian slip there. But it does sting a bit more that the club aren't getting money for him. But also, you can't absolve the club of any mistakes here. They allowed this situation to get to this point. So I think there's blame or frustration to be aimed at a few people in this situation. Adam Brown, how are you, my man? Said, I'm really sad Trent is going, but for me, he's the easiest to replace from the three because we have Bradley and we'll probably sign another decent right back. I think Adam, and by the way, thank you for the super chat, mate. I think many people would probably share your thought process there. Certainly from our conversations before I went away, I think most people would have agreed with you. Now, we may disagree on who that right back will be because we're going to speak about Jeremy Frimpong in a little while. But for me, I agree, which sounds counterintuitive because Trent's in his prime. He's 26. And we're talking about it being maybe better for us to keep the two older guys. But I do think they have a bigger impact in the short term on the team if they were to leave. So Trent going's not ideal, and I would have preferred him to stay, but I think I agree with you. They are more important for me as well. Ashley said, unpopular opinion, but if Salah and VVD stay and Trent's leaving, I'm not that fussed. VVD and Salah are more important for me. And again, Ashley, I think that opinion is probably shared by a lot of people. Can I have a birthday shout out? I missed you. Carl, of course, my man. Happy birthday. Always lovely to see you in the chat. I hope yourself and Julie are well. And many happy returns, my man. Mark Bell said, Trent has made his mind up when Klopp put his notice in. So, perhaps that's the case. Some people feel that this was a situation that Trent had probably always planned. And by that I mean there's some talk that this decision maybe was made a couple of years ago with the point of running down the contract. Maybe not knowing exactly where destination may be. But look, let's be adult about this. Some players will be attracted by the lure of Madrid. Some players will be attracted by the idea of going to play for a huge club in world football. And to do that with a decent signing on fee and some decent wages, I mean, it is what it is. But the only part I'm annoyed about as a fan is I feel like we were manipulated again in this situation, and that it was known for a while that he was probably heading off and there was no honesty from anybody about it. That's the part that annoys me as a fan. Ben said, 20 months, favourite channel on YouTube, WFM. Absolute gent, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that support. Right. Buggers Taste Salty said, cowardly move. It's Kevin Durant going to play for the Warriors. Couldn't beat them, so you joined them. And he's been working for them for a year. There was never really any part of me that thought he was going to stay. Deep down. You know? I feel like if you're going to stay, you probably come out soon and say that kind of something along the lines of, it's flattering to receive interest from blah, 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 but I'm at my dream club. So yeah, I get where you're coming from. I don't really get the NBA reference because I'm not a big NBA fan, but appreciate your input though. I would be okay with Trent leaving, but from what I heard, he was convinced by them from the end of 2023 and knew that he wants to go to Real Madrid, but still he was pretending and acting like it was just trash talk. Don't like his attitude. Totally get that. I don't like how he's dealt with this, and I've made no bones about me saying I think he's taken the cowardly route. And I know I get a lot of flack from people for saying these things out loud, but let's be honest, we all felt he was heading off. Just what wound me up was this insistence that the club were optimistic. This insistence that the club had no indication that Trent wanted to leave. I don't believe that for 1 second. And I don't think anyone who's been honest with themselves believed that either. Whether it went back as far as 2023, like you said, mate, I don't know, perhaps. But I do believe he made his mind up a long time ago. Because like I said on many streams, it doesn't take you 9 months to decide what country you want to play football in. So I think this decision was made for a while, and it's no surprise to me at all that it leaks out during an international break, because that's when a lot of this type of stuff tends to come out. Right, so Mutz, let me get your comment up on screen here, my man. 1 sec. Mutz said, Liverpool fans will probably feel aggrieved because he's Scouse, but at the end of the day, in a lot of sports, players run down the contracts, and football is going the same way. Plus, his bro is his agent, money for the family. Yeah, again, don't think there's any right and wrong perspective on this one. It's how you feel personally. I would just say to anybody, I don't think it serves any of us well for anybody to go online and start throwing abusive messages at Trent. You know, it's not going to fix anything. You know, I think I'd just like to hear him come out and explain his decision as a fan. Because I think the fans are owed that, personally. But maybe people disagree with that one. Nomad said, I'm not angry with him leaving. It's the way he's gone about it. No communication from him to the fans, which feels ratty and disrespectful. Any other names being mentioned other than Frimpong? Not really. The Frimpong stuff seems to be gathering some pace, actually. And thank you for the segue. Let me bring this up. Sorry, it's going to go all the way back up. So James Pearce of The Athletic on their podcast said, as good as Bradley's been, more his injuries than anything else, I think surely you have to get somebody with a decent profile. Somebody like Frimpong from Leverkusen. Speculation, Liverpool have been linked with him for a while. So Frimpong's a name that has come up quite a bit over the past few days. Now, I've always been honest and said I don't see a natural fit there for Frimpong unless maybe his position is tweaked very different to the one he plays for Leverkusen. But if that's what Arne Slot wants, a world of Frimpong and Bradley, I think would give us two very good options. I absolutely agree with James Pearce's concerns that the biggest setback to going all in on Conor Bradley may be the niggling injuries, which of course, like I've always said, nobody wants. The player doesn't want them, the coach doesn't want them, the fans don't want it. But we don't know if these are things that Conor Bradley may grow out of, if they're a growth thing, if they're some sports science thing that we don't understand. So the best case scenario for me is that you have a bit of both. You have him and another option. If that's Frimpong, look, I'm cool about that if that's what Arne Slot wants. Gerard's words, it means more winning for your people, said Kyle. Yep. Look, people have been playing videos of Trent talking about wanting to stay at Liverpool for his whole career. But something's changed. And I don't know if it's, Bellingham in his ear. I don't know if he fancies a change. But look, ultimately, all I wanted as a fan was a resolution to this, and we've gotten it. We know what's happening, so we can crack on now and look to the future. And on that, I don't know how everybody else is feeling about the summer transfer window, but it's been a bit of a mixed one for me this week. I've seen lots of journalists say that Liverpool are going to have a very expensive summer. I'll believe that when I see it, but it's certainly a very important summer. Let's wait and see what happens. Do I believe that we're going to sign Alexander-Isak? No, I don't. And I've said this for a while, even though people love to have a pop at me in the comments for reporting a journalist's story that said that Liverpool are open to a couple of players being involved in a potential deal for Alexander-Isak. Again, it's no breaking news to know that Newcastle wanted Jarell Quansah in the summer. It's no breaking news to know that Joe Gomez's name was mentioned in these negotiations when we were looking at Anthony Gordon. But a lot of journalists today have said that Liverpool have no desire whatsoever to move on Quansah, and they shouldn't, because we need to be adding to the centre-back department, not clearing it out. So I don't see a world where we get Isak. I don't. Would I take him? Yes. Of course I would. But I don't expect our owners, knowing what we know about them, to put up that much money in one position. I'd love to be wrong, but I don't have that faith. I'm not going to go back into this one, Dave. I covered it earlier on. I needed to get it off my chest. But to come home from holidays to that message, it's upset my wife. And it takes a lot to upset her, but it is what it is. Ultimately, everything that I was accused of in that message is bullshit. And anybody who's ever watched this channel knows that I've defended and said I've no ill feeling towards him on a personal level, but I feel hurt by being thrown under the bus. But I'm entitled to an opinion. Same as all of these journalists that write their stories. If I think a player's had a poor game, I'm going to say it. If I think a journalist is not doing their duty as a journalist and being honest, I'm going to say that as well. And if these people don't like it, tough. But running to the police like a child is so pathetic that I can't even put it into words. It's like they're allowed to have opinions, but the rest of us are so beneath them that we're not entitled to an opinion. Grow up. Adam said, got a feeling Bajcetic will be our midfield solution. And again, This feels very weird, by the way, Adam, because I feel like I'm almost defending the club's stance on some of this stuff. I've no problem if Bajcetic is that extra body in midfield. I've no problem at all. But I'd like Arne Slot to confirm that. So then we can at least go, right, our midfield is going to be McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Bajcetic, and we'll see what happens with Endo. Because a couple of reports about Eintracht Frankfurt have an interest in Wataru Endo. There was a piece today that said that interest is reciprocated from the player. So if we were to move Endo on, I feel like then we would still have another midfielder to bring in. But right now, as we sit here, we need a right back. If Mo and Virgil get extended, brilliant. That gets rid of 2 potential headaches. I would still say we need another centre back. Certainly we need to bring in a left back who the manager trusts to compete with Robbo. And then it's whatever happens up top with regards to Darwin moving on and any other forwards. So the window's looking a bit less daunting with this potentially good news about Mo and Virgil. It looks like a far more achievable window for the club to solve what needs to be solved. If we had to replace those 3 plus all the other work that we needed to, that looks like a bit much for one window. But if Virgil and Mo are staying, and it's, right back, left back, and a forward or 2, that seems doable in a window with the right backing from the owners. But then again, hey, do we feel we'll get that backing? Who knows? I won't hold my breath though. Benjamin, how are you, my man? Said, long time no speak. After reading between the lines in Spain, Madrid won't be able to afford Huijsen. Not a priority. I think Chelsea are nipping in. I believe we need this kid. He's going to be huge. I think having just made his debut for Spain as well, it's probably just added to the whole, I guess, allure of Madrid and him. I'd love Huijsen. I think most people in this chat would probably love to bring him in. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Gomez moves on this summer, but I certainly hope he doesn't, because I love Joe and I love his versatility. So if we had a centre-back of Kanade, who the club want to get his contract renewed, and let's hope that want actually follows into it getting done, Kanade, Virgil, Quansah, Huijsen would be a great collection of centre-backs. And if Gomez is there as well, brilliant. But we do need to get that centre-back in, for me, because I think we've seen we're an injury away from a big headache there at centre-back. And if Huijsen's available and Liverpool can get a deal done, brilliant. I'd be a very happy fan. Dave, how are you, my man? Said, hi Craig, did you know Neville gave it to Carragher because Neville called out FSG over the 3 contracts and Carragher has been an FSG apologist? So I didn't watch it, but I read the transcript of the exchange on the overlap. I think there was a couple of exchanges, one at the start of an episode or something and one a bit later. And look, both of them probably made some decent points, but ultimately I don't understand how, in Carragher's position, let's say, he doesn't feel that the club maybe let this drag on too long. He's right in what he says. If a player makes up their mind that they're running down a contract, nobody can do anything about that. As long as they adhere to their contract and serve the period of time on it, it's their careers to do it as they want. But Neville also has some points in saying it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And we've seen a lot of players leave Liverpool, and we're still not confirmed 100% that Mo and Virgil are staying, although that's looking fairly positive. So yeah, the whole thing is certainly dividing opinion in the football world. Lots of people feel that Trent should be given a pat on the back and wish the best. Others feel that he'll go straight into the Michael Owen, Steve McManaman category of, well, you could have been a legend, but... And again, I can only repeat myself, I think it's an individual choice as to how you feel about it. I just feel the club have looked a bit weak in how they've allowed this to drag on. I feel Trent needed to be more upfront and honest, and I feel if he had have been, some of the resentment that's been aimed towards him probably would have been nowhere near as strong. But right now it feels like we've all been strung along a little bit, and this really didn't help him, because you now have the image of Bellingham doing it and leaving for Madrid, and now you've got Trent doing it and leaving for Madrid, and I don't think that that's done him any favours. Right, Endo would do well for Eintracht Frankfurt, said Darth Cannabis. I just hope it doesn't upset the dressing room too much, said Paul Vowles. I think the dressing room knew about this, because a lot of people seem to know about this. But what really got under my skin was one particular aspect of a post from Fabrizio Romano. And I don't mean this like I'm having a go at Fabrizio Romano. I mean this from the point of view of, if this is true, it looks really bad on certain people. And that's what my post on X about the journalist was about. So let me read this out to you, and again I'll explain my take. Fabrizio Romano said, Real Madrid were very clear with Trent Alexander-Arnold from day one. If you want to join, it has to be on our terms, or else extend with Liverpool or do whatever you want. The next line is the infuriating one. Trent, and then he put in all capitals, immediately, as if to emphasise the point, accepted. So if this was known from day one, when he was approached, the Madrid said, you do this on our terms or you stay at Liverpool, and he immediately accepted it, why are we being told by Liverpool patch journalists that this negotiation has been ongoing and one that Liverpool were optimistic about? Something stinks. And if people can't see that, or aren't willing to accept that they're part of stringing fans along, then again, tough. Because we were all told, be positive, be optimistic. The club are optimistic. There's been no indication that Trent wants to leave. Well, Romano said, as soon as Madrid said it's our way or the highway, he immediately accepted. So somebody's telling porkies, but apparently calling out some of this makes you a bully. Well, tough. Because it needs to be called out. Because misleading people or parroting the company line about what the club want out there doesn't make you a journalist. It makes you an extension of the club's PR team. End of. So any grief that these journalists get, tough. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You're quite happy to charge people to read your content, but you don't want any negative feedback. You don't want to be held accountable for the things you've said and written. Tough. That's the job you're in. We're in the opinions business. If I was to run to the police for everybody that slags me off, I'd never get that done. Never. But I pull on my big boy pants and get on with my life. And I realise that people aren't going to agree with my opinions all the time. That's okay. But everything that I put out is free. I don't charge people for my opinions and then cry arse when people disagree and start pointing the finger of blame elsewhere. Could it be, and I don't know, perhaps people are seeing through the PR bullshit? Could it be that fans have had enough of being manipulated and made to feel like we're bad people for daring question the narrative or for asking a bit more from the owners? These people need to be realists. You aren't better than us. You don't sit on your high horses and look down your nose at fan accounts and think it's going to not have a reaction. I will stand up for fan content 100%. I will stand up for all of those accounts on X and social media who have been belittled by some of these journalists. And the very first time they get a bit of pushback, they want to run to the police? Are you for real? It's the opinions business. If you don't want to be in it, then get off YouTube. But you're in our world and we critique each other's work. It's what's done. Tough. Get over it. And, by the way, like I've said, I've never once asked anybody to do anything for me or to undermine anybody else. I'm a big boy. I have my own opinions. I say them bluntly to camera. I don't need others to do my work for me. So, again, if you're going to make accusations, at least try and be right about them and stop looking like a fool. So, do you agree with me, by the way, folks? Do you think that we've been dragged along in this as fans? By the club, maybe? By some journalists covering the club? Because I certainly feel like we've been spun a yarn. You know? Because it's been pretty clear that Trent's heading off. And I've said it up front and honest all the way through. I don't know what's going on, but my reading of it is he's likely to go. So I don't understand how these guys are so thin-skinned that they think they're above criticism or above being held to account for their work. These guys are quick enough to jump on socials, to belittle fans, to call other businesses bad firms. Not me, another Liverpool fan account. Bitch about them behind their back. Look down their nose at them. Mock them on podcasts talking about them all being wanting to be Chelsea and City fans. And then run to the police when somebody calls them a coward? That's not being a journalist. That's something a child would do. Grow up. And I've never... Has anybody ever heard me, by the way, once ask anybody to go over and give David Lynch abuse? Anyone? Has anyone in the chat been asked by me to go and give him or anybody else abuse? No, because I'm not a scumbag. I say what I say out of my own mouth and I'm responsible for that. But I'm not responsible for other people not liking what you're saying. To actually try to accuse me of that is really low, really pathetic, and actually trying to damage my company. It's shocking. Never once have I sent anybody in anyone's direction. I do my work myself. I say what I say and I give my opinion. I don't need anyone to back me up. I don't need anyone to run over and belittle. But if people have, maybe you need to look inwardly and ask yourself, why has this happened? Ash, how are you, bro? Said, hi guys, hope everyone's well. Good to see you, my man. Hope you had a good holiday. I agree with you 100%. Darth Cannabis said, I agree, they led us on. You're absolutely right. Said Nomad. Yes, 100%. Especially journalists afraid to lose their press cards. Exactly. Craig, we all recognise all the smoke from these guys. But apparently they don't. And that's the part that gets me. Mary said, you said you didn't want people to give him abuse when we left the stream. Yep. But as I said, we got a message saying, stop using my name for clout, you stupid cunt. Imagine saying that to somebody who's only ever told people not to be disrespectful to you. The irony is not lost on me. Anyway, I've so much news to get through, so I'm going to crack on with it, because there's a load to get through that we haven't covered yet. So, where to go to next? Right, let's talk Soboslai. It looks like Dom got engaged. He posted a picture of himself and his missus with a heart and 25th of the 3rd, 2025. So, congratulations to Dom. Always happy to see anybody in the world find love and settle down with somebody. So, wishing him nothing but the best. So, Jeremy Frimpong. This report says Liverpool have held initial talks over a summer move for Bayer Leverkusen fullback Jeremy Frimpong, according to the PA news agency. Talks are said to be at an early stage, but the expected departure of Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid could accelerate Liverpool's interest in the player. How would we feel about that one? Do we believe the story about Frimpong? And would we be happy if it was a Frimpong and Conor Bradley selection at right back that Arne Slot had for next season? I'm really easy about these things. I want who the manager wants, because ultimately it's going to be his decision that he lives or dies by, and his career is successful or failed by. So I just want the manager to be backed and go from there. But look, Bradley and Frimpong for me would be good options at right back. Both of them different attributes, although both very good as well with getting forward. So I wouldn't be against it. So let me go back to the poll. And by the way, if you can drop a like on the stream, please do. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, would love you to do. Oh, I almost forgot the good news. So caught up today by that disgusting message that I forgot the good news. 1 minute, I'll get back to the good news. So we said, would you feel less frustrated if we got a big fee for Trent? 69% of people said yes, 13% of people said no, and then 18% of people said I'm not upset either way. And thank you to everyone that took part in that poll. I'd probably be in the yes camp. It would have softened the blow if we had have gotten a nice chunky transfer fee. So on the good news, as you guys know, we have a show in Liverpool March 28th. But today, I just confirmed another event. So I will be in Liverpool for the last game of the season, and I'm going to be doing an event in conjunction with other people, and I can't wait. I can't give you the details of it just yet, but I'm so excited to be over for the last day of the season. The really good news is we're still going to be able to do our watch along for the last game as normal. So anybody that's tuning in for the watch along will still be able to do that. But I'm really excited about this. And as soon as I've got more information that I can publicly say to you, I will. But it's going to be a cracking last day. And I'm so excited to be over in the city for it. And get to share it with Scousers who, as you know, I've nothing but love and affection for. So yeah, cannot wait to be back in the city. And as soon as I get all the information that I can give to you, I will. But yeah, two things happening in 1 week in Liverpool. Our live show at the Hot Water Comedy Club, May 28th, with myself, Chris, Steve, Jack and Connor. Our end of season party. That's going to be brilliant. And then there's another event that will be announced very soon that I'll be front and centre of as well, which I'm very excited to be part of in the city of Liverpool for the day they lift the title. I'm so humbled to be part of it, but again, thank you guys for your support and making this happen, because, you know, without you guys coming on and supporting our community and our channel, these opportunities wouldn't come our way, and I'm very grateful for it. Andy said, the message on referral to the police was from DL WTF. Yep. Like, we were blocked. I told you guys we were blocked. And then we were unblocked. So apparently he could call me a stupid, see you next Tuesday, threaten me with the police, and then block me again. So I'm very confused by the whole thing. But like I've said, it's all incorrect. And there's no world where I sent anybody to do anything to him. Anybody that comments on his videos or his stuff, it's not my fault. I've only asked people to not be abusive to him and said that while I feel hurt by the situation, I'd never held any long-term bad feelings against them. But that message has really, really, really hurt my wife. And that makes me very angry. That's cool, Craig. Enjoy the last day of the season. Yep, it's I like to be in the city and experience the last day of the season where we win the league with all of you guys, hopefully, and Scousers. Man, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. But you know what? One big problem we have is the accommodation. Oh my day. So anybody that can help me with this time I am asking for your help. At the moment, we're staying about 40 miles away from Liverpool in our accommodation that we've booked for it. But if anybody knows of any, and I know it's a big ask because God, the city's going to be jammers for the last day of the season, but if anybody has any inns or, you know, knows of somewhere we can get a bit closer, hit me up, because any help would be much appreciated. Myself and Connor will be there, and we're struggling to find any accommodation, understandably, anywhere near the city. It's not going to be an easy one. Never fear, Johnny Sins is here. Well, my man. My doppelganger. The fact wouldn't let you say your piece. Oh no, I said my piece in the messages. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. But again, my point is, the whole thing is just weird. Colin said, Trent to be a big success in Spain, yes or no? Honestly, no. I think, look, it's difficult for a local player playing for your local club. You're always under the microscope. As Jamie Carragher has said, having had experience of it, you're talked about a bit differently. You're treated a bit differently. But for any microscope that was on Trent and any maybe criticisms that came about his defending or anything from the media in England, I think it's only going to be exacerbated in Spain, because we all know the Madrid media can be, well, they can be very harsh and very critical, as can the Madrid fans. And I think it's not going to take too many mistakes before they're calling for Carvajal or they're waving the white hankies. And if people think that the English media or fans over here can be harsh, I think it's going to be a lot worse over there if things go badly. And I do think it's the wrong decision, but, you know, I can't say whether he'll regret it or not, because, you know, that's a personal thing. Where is it you're going to be in the last day? I can't say it yet, because I have to let the organisers make the announcement about the event. I don't want to jump the gun on that one, so I can't say just yet. 50 ping Skiller, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Trent's going to be a tiny fish in the Madrid Ocean. So what do you guys think it's going to work out for him at Madrid? Do you think it's a good fit? But honestly, I think we've spent too long talking about Trent. I want to talk about Mo and Virgil if we can, because Trent's made his mind up. That's happening. But this Egyptian source again said the departure of Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool will be a big factor in Salah's renewal, after reducing the high salaries within the team, allowing the star to get what he wants in his contract with the Reds. I can see some common sense in that one. I don't know if, you know, it's not for me to speak to what Liverpool's thought process was in this negotiation, but I'm sure wanting Trent to stay would have been a priority. Now that we know that he's not going to stay, it makes sense that maybe they can adjust the numbers a little bit for Virgil and Mo, and maybe give them a little bit higher than they initially had offered, because maybe they were budgeting to keep all three. So in that scenario, I can understand that. I just hope that we do get the positive news soon, because it would certainly help fans to know that our captain and our talisman will be at the club. I watched Back Pages tonight on Sky Sports last night, and I want to just really speak positively about journalism for a second, because Miguel Delaney and Sam Dean, the two journalists who were on there, Miguel from the Independent and Sam, I think, from the Guardian, if I'm not mistaken, it was an incredibly good piece, speaking about the situation with Todd Boehly and Chelsea and the ticket reselling, that Todd Boehly is part of a company, I think, that operates in America that sells Chelsea tickets at a big markup. And it they spoke to the grubbiness of football and how football fans, the hardcore football fans, are almost being priced out of football. And, you know, you've heard me say a lot of times that I think a lot of owners would happily do away with season tickets these days because they don't make as much money from them. And the two gents were speaking about that. And if you can get a chance to listen to it, I believe it's on a podcast as well as on Sky Sports. It's a brilliant, brilliant segment from two brilliant journalists who know the game inside out and gave really good insights into the direction the football is going, why fans are concerned about it, and why fans are feeling priced out of a game that is now becoming more an entertainment business than maybe a sport. And I just thought they did a really good job with it, and it's good to highlight these things as well. You've heard me say before, Miguel Delaney's an incredible journalist, and it was a good reminder of the best side of football journalism. Gary said, if he defends like he did against us, United at Anfield, and players go past him like Doku did, they'll destroy him. It could turn to England, Gulf Madrid very quickly. 50p Skiller said, and thank you, mate, you became a member a few minutes ago, appreciate you. Said, been watching for years, not much of a chat, thanks for what you do, Craig. It ain't easy living in America, but I'm glad to tune in and watch. I really appreciate that, my friend, thank you. It never ceases to amaze me that our community continues to grow and that people tune in from all parts of the world. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to say that, my man. Thank you and welcome. Well, welcome in, I guess, as a member, but welcome again. Steve, how are you, bro? Steve Alders, he said, time for Liverpool to focus on players who want to stay. I would agree. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. I would agree. And that's what I was saying. I think we've given enough time here to the Trent situation. I'd like to talk about Mohamed Salah and Virgil, because I'd be delighted if those two stay. Because it makes the potential transition away from them in a few years' time way more achievable for me than trying to do it all in one window. So again, just to reiterate for people who may not have been with us at the start, we have now got confirmation from the Premier League that there will be 2 transfer windows this summer. I've alluded to it for a few weeks, but is now confirmed. So Sky Sports posted this. I'll read it out as it's written. Premier League clubs have agreed on the 2025 summer transfer window dates following a shareholders meeting. The window will open early between Sunday, June the 1st and Tuesday, June the 10th. It will open again on Monday, June the 16th until deadline day on Monday, September the 1st. So there will be a quick window between June the 1st and June the 10th. It's namely aimed at letting the clubs in the Club World Cup bring in players if they can. I think it's limited to 2 signings during that one. And then the full transfer window opens up 6 days later, June the 16th, and it will run all the way through to September the 1st. So that's the summer transfer windows confirmed. Michael K, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my man. Appreciate you. And Craig Adams, thank you for gifting a membership. And that went to Foxy. Nice one. Demetrius, I think I missed this one earlier, my friend. Hope you had a good holiday. You'll never walk alone. It was good. Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you. Spent some great time with the family. Got to meet Lee Gunner as well. Lee came up and stayed a couple of nights with us at the villa we'd rented. Myself and Lee and my daughter's boyfriend went to watch Elche play in La Liga 2, and it was brilliant. Really enjoyed meeting Lee, an absolute gent. Had a couple of great nights chatting with Lee and having a laugh. Nice meal out on the Friday night as well. It was lovely to finally meet him, and yeah, it was a good trip. It was a good trip. Weather wasn't great, but I mean, if you go to Spain in March, it's always going to be a bit hit and miss there. Colzer, did I miss another one of your super chats, mate? Here you go. Let me bring this up. Sorry if I did, mate. It's just been a few in tonight, and I've tried to get through them, so I apologise, Colzer. Said, I saw Frimpong in Salah's position for Holland, and he's impressive. Maybe right back in the short term and long term Salah's replacement. Maybe. I definitely know that he plays a lot more advanced for the Netherlands. I think he played the right side of a midfield 5, maybe, or certainly I think it was a midfield 5, if I'm not mistaken. So in a wing back type of role. And that, to me, seems more of his natural position. But I think you could get a good balance, Colzer, between Bradley and Frimpong. Because Bradley, look, I think we all have faith in Conor Bradley from a talent perspective. But of course, some of the uncertainties there are around his injury concerns. And that's, I think, understandable from people to have. Just making sure I haven't missed any more. Steve said, we'll sign 1 or 2 in the first window if serious. Yeah, that's what I'm interested to see, Steve. If we do perhaps take that up. Let's move on to speak about Jarell Quansah for a second, actually, if I can. And then we'll move on to have a chat about Kirkhead. So stick with me, folks. We still have lots to get through tonight. Mark has just sent me on the officials for the Merseyside derby as well. Just a reminder, we take on Everton on Wednesday at Anfield. It is an 8 p.m. kickoff and the game will be on Sky Sports. The referee for that game is Sam Barrett. His assistants are Lee Betts and Timothy Wood. Fourth official Darren Bond. VAR Paul Tierney and assistant VAR Adam Nunn. So they're the officials for the Merseyside derby, and what a game to welcome us back to club football after the international break. So let's talk Jarell Quansah for a minute. lots of reports saying that Newcastle are interested. Fabrizio Romano, amongst many other journalists, said Jarell Quansah on Newcastle's shortlist for centre-back position ahead of the summer transfer window, as per Matt Hardy Sport reported. No contacts, talks yet, but he's on the list. Dean Huyson, another name appreciated at Newcastle, but feel it'll be difficult to get a deal done. Now, journalists have then said that Liverpool have no intention of selling Quansah, which I think is the right move. But one article that I read suggested that Newcastle value Quansah at 30 million plus some add-ons. And I think that's a long way short of anywhere near a number that even if Liverpool did have a thought of selling him, you're way below. Let's look at what other young English defenders here have gone for. You're talking about a fella here now who's playing with the Premier League winners this year, who has come through a lot and shown resilience, shown that he can play in a couple of positions across the back. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was called up for the English national team as well. And that isn't a 30 million quid player. Not with him being homegrown. Not a chance. It's got to be a lot more than that. I think from memory, Liverpool's valuation in the summer was in and around 60. But you can't, I think if I was to put a value on Quansah, based off what the other defenders, young English defenders are going for, I'd have to say 50 million. And I think that's reasonable. You know, look at the fee Hall went to for Newcastle. I can't remember Tino Livramento's fee. But, you know, he's a homegrown fella and that comes with a premium. And that premium certainly isn't 30 million quid. Tanya made a good point as well. Branthwaite, they were wanting 80 million for last year. Mark Gay as well from Crystal Palace, they were demanding a fee way in excess of that. Now look, Mark Gay is further along in his development, of course, but I just think that's a really low figure. The real Johnny Sins will be performing in Liverpool too. Nice, we can get on stage, mate, and we can do the Spider-Man meme. Me and you just... and again, appreciate you, bro. I love a bit of banter, by the way, man. I love somebody with a good sense of humour as well, so welcome in. Stephen Shupping gifted an Anfield Agenda membership, and that's gone to Scott Ogilvie. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you. So yeah, on Quansah, what are you saying? You know, should Liverpool entertain any offers for him? Because for me, it's a no. You know, if you're going to move on a centre-back, I feel the likeliest one is Gomez. Because, you know, he's not getting enough game time. He's had some injuries. And there's been some talk in the past that maybe Joe would be open to another chapter in his career. So if you're moving on a centre-back, for me, that would be the one. But I still wouldn't be looking to push Joe Gomez out the door because Joe Gomez's versatility, I think, can be a key attribute. Dave Smith said, well, 30 mil off Isak's price. Look, Joe, I'm going to put this to a poll, actually. 1 second. I want to just ask a really simple question about Isak. So, I'm going to ask, do you actually think that Liverpool can get Isak? This one's just a flat yes or no. Your reasoning, put that in either way. If it's a yes because of X or if it's a no because of Y, let me know. For me, no, I don't. And my reason would be the owners. And the fact that we have so many positions that we think we need to strengthen in this summer, I find it difficult to see a world where we would pay the money Newcastle asked for, because I don't think Liverpool will see value in that if indeed Newcastle are willing to do business. So for me, there's too many variables. There's will Newcastle get Champions League? There's will the player sign a new deal? It looks like he's turned down the first offer of a new contract. Then there's the value that Liverpool would look at in a deal. And I just don't see enough of those things coming together to make it a realistic possibility. So I would happily take him, but I don't expect it. I don't think it's a realistic signing for us. And it pains me to say that because I'd love to sit here and say yes. Steve Shupping said, if Diaz is the Barca and we lose Darwin or Jota, thoughts on left wing and striker for the transfer fee window, or for the transfer window, and much love from fellow Americans. All your support, supporters around, keep up the great work. Stephen, absolute gentleman, sir, thank you. And to answer your question, so if Diaz goes to Barca, I think we could bring in another multifaceted forward, because we have Cody Gakpo and he's probably going to be the one to play on the left, and deservedly so. So for me, if you moved on Diaz, I'd like another forward that can maybe play in a couple of positions. I'm wondering, may that be a Ryan Cherky type player? And then through the centre, if Darwin moves on, which I think he will, I'd want Alvarez. I know that might be unrealistic as well, by the way, but Julian Alvarez for me from Atleti, he would be right up there at the top of my list if there was any way it was possible. After that, I think you've got Šeško as a decent option. You've got Matheus Cunha, although of course people are rightly pointing to his temperament and the few red cards he's had this season. João Pedro's a name that's been written about a lot in the last few days. Apparently Liverpool are very fond of João Pedro. So I think there are some good options there. And most of those names that I've mentioned would be significantly less. Maybe not Alvarez, but Cunha, Šeško, João Pedro, I would say that they'd be significantly cheaper than Alexander Isak. And in some cases, I guess, maybe more robust from a physical perspective. So, yeah. That's kind of my thoughts on it, Stephen. And thank you, mate, for your super chat and for your support. Appreciate it. Cunha has anger issues. If he could tame that, be perfect fit. So, yeah, I like a player that plays on the edge like that. But you've got to harness it in the right way. So Wayne Rooney, Steven Gerrard, these were players that played with that fire in their belly, but sometimes that boils over and you get a red card. But if you can harness that in the right way, it can be a really powerful tool as well. And we've seen that Cunha has stepped up this season in the Premier League with Wolves, now part of the Brazilian squad as well. So there are options. Craig, is the poll can or will? It's, do you actually think Liverpool can get Isak this summer? So interpret that how you want, whether you think it's me saying. Basically, will he end up at Liverpool is the question I'm asking you. If the answer is yes for whatever reason, great. If it's no for whatever reason, great. I didn't want to lead you with a question to say, do you think FSG would pony up the dough? Or I wanted to leave it just as an open-ended question with no leading thought process going into it. The LFC Reaper. Welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my man. Jamie said, we definitely need a replacement right back and left back, but do you also think we need a CDM as Fabinho hasn't been replaced? Would you take Osimhen? I wouldn't go near Victor Osimhen, to be honest with you. He doesn't strike me as the right fit. The CDM, I want one right now. As we sit here, mate, talking, Jamie, I want that CDM in. But I'm also open to Arne Slot telling me that Stefan Bajcetic is going to be that guy. And that he's going to be the one to come in, compete with, or cover for Ryan Gravenberch. I guess the interesting part of this comes from, what if Wataru Endo leaves? Then I do think we have a space in midfield that could be utilised. I'm also very interested to see what happens with Harvey Elliott this summer. And Federico Chiesa. His father said that they in no way regret joining Liverpool, that he's enjoying his time at Liverpool, and that he very much expects to be at Liverpool next season. So, if Chiesa can convince the manager over the next 9 games that he is good enough, because let's face it, we feel he is, that's another option. Yes, he's been in the team this year, but he's kind of only really been in the squad in name only, because we've not seen him utilised too much from the manager. So it's going to be an interesting last 9 games, and I hope we see Chiesa start through the middle for the Merseyside derby. I don't see what Arna has to lose here, because the options are Darwin Núñez, who can be brilliant, can be frustrating, or can be somewhere in the middle, or Diogo Jota, who isn't really in the best of form at the minute, or a guy who came on and scored in the cup final and is feeling like he has a point to prove. I know which one I'd lean to there. It's the guy that feels like he has a point to prove, and no better way to try and do that than a Merseyside derby. Like, imagine he plays Chiesa and he scores against Everton and we win the game. Immediately then, Chiesa is even more in everybody's hearts and probably feels like he's walking on air, invincible, and that's what you want from your players. So I'd love to see him played for the last 9 games. Nathan, how are you, bro? Said, I don't want us to get Isak, only reason being we won't strengthen in other positions with that amount of money it'll cost. I take Shesko and Delap, as we probably spend 100 million on them. So I think one thing we do have to talk about, Nathan, when we're speaking about a forward is we will recoup some money. Now, I don't know how much money we're going to get for Darwin Núñez, but we will recoup some money. And also we've Jaden Danns as well. So, we have to think about his future. There's other young forwards as well. Rion Yamoha, he's going to make, excuse me, my pronunciation of his surname, I always get that wrong, apologies. Him coming through. There's Trent Doherty as well. There's the other youngster that's out on loan. Oh God, how can his name have slipped my mind? Apologies here. What's the young lad's name again? Somebody bail me out on the chat here. I'm having a blonde moment, excuse me. Who's the other youngster? Young winger. Scored a couple for us last year in the League Cup. No, not Bendo. Kumas. Yes, Kumas. Lewis Kumas. That's the one I'm thinking about. So yeah, there's their futures as well to consider. So it'll be interesting to see how much money we put in the here and now and how much maybe we're looking at rounding off the edges, if that makes sense. But we will receive some money in for Darwin, and I'm sure that money will be offset against whatever the expense is for whoever the centre forward is. Craig, have you seen that 75% of Cunha's minutes this season have been spent walking? Does that change your opinion of bringing him to Liverpool? I did see something about that, Trey. Look, for me, my opinion's kind of irrelevant here. But if Arne Slot has looked at the stats and deems him to be the guy, then I want to support our manager. I didn't know that before the stat came out. Earlier on, I didn't, but it certainly makes you think, right? We don't carry many passengers in our team. We work hard in the team. Dominic Soboslai, McAllister, Gravenberch, they get through a lot of work rate in the middle. So I don't think Arne Slot would be willing to bring in somebody who doesn't buy in to the work rate and the work ethic that he wants in the team. Good point, though, and thank you for raising it. Right, let's go with Sebastian's first. I might be naive, but I'm 90% confident / hopeful that we go big on Isak because FSG really need a big win to keep us fans quiet. I don't know, just thoughts. Well, look, if you are going to spend money, he is proven. And, he's 25, 26 now, Isak, I think. My only concern would be the injuries, but if you've got other options there, whether that's Jaden Danns, Chiesa, or other options that can come in and do a job, it probably would feel a bit less daunting. It's just, for me, 120 million for a player that we can't guarantee will be available at the business end of a season concerns me a bit. But ultimately, would I be happy if we signed him? Yeah, I would. Right, the LFC Reaper said, Mamardashvili isn't having the greatest of seasons. Are you worried about the goalkeeping situation? Yes, I am. Because right now, we have a goalkeeping situation where we've got the best goalkeeper in the world and one of the best backup goalkeepers in the world. And now we're facing an uncertainty around one of the goalkeeping spots. I said at the time when we signed Mamardashvili, I've no problem with Liverpool doing that, but I do question why more faith wasn't put in Queevy and Kelleher. And I think I also have uncertainty because I don't know what the pecking order for goalkeepers are going to be next season. You know, Mamardashvili wants to come in and be number one. Alisson's proven time and time again that he's absolutely amazing and in no way deserves to be displaced as a number one. So something has to give there. And I just want us to continue to have a good, strong, in-depth goalkeeping department like we currently have. And clarity on that will be most welcome as well. And we know how much Arne Slot loves Alisson. You know, he made no bones that he's the number one. And when he came back from injury, he was going straight back in. So I just don't want us to in any way weaken that position. But it hasn't been the greatest of season for Valencia and for Mamardashvili. But how much of that is down to Valencia or how much of that is down to maybe his own poor performances? I haven't watched enough to really know, in all honesty. The real Johnny Sin said, Craig, want a collab and a threesome. Mate, I have enough problems disappointing my wife in that department without disappointing a third person in the mix. So I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to respectfully decline because I'm not up to the job. Trust me, I'm not. Right, can we get up to 1,000 likes? We are 730. We've got about half an hour left in tonight's stream, so do keep them coming in if you haven't already. What's this one? Sorry, there's a story here about Jaden Danns I just want to quickly read. 1 second. So, Liverpool youngster Jaden Danns is enduring a challenging period during his loan spell at Sunderland. The forward has been dealing with injury issues, and the latest update will come as a concern for both the player and the club. Sunderland loanee Jaden Danns has faced a frustrating second half of the season, with time on Wearside yet to get going. His January move from Liverpool was seen as a chance to get the youngster to test himself in the Championship, but injury have disrupted his progress. While the Black Cats were aware of the risk when signing him, they had hoped he would recover in time to play a role in the final stretch of the season. Yeah, it's a really tough one that for everybody because it was a good loan move and I think everybody felt like it was a win-win situation there. Danns gets to go and play at a good club, a club who are looking to come back up to the Premier League, a club that, you know, we're going to give him the opportunity to show what he can do in the Championship. So it's a tough one. And I'm sure it's a frustrating time for Jaden Danns as well. You know, he'll want to be out there on the pitch playing. So hopefully he can get back playing as soon as possible. But again, it's been a tough season for him with injuries. Jamie said, do you think Liverpool made a good decision getting Mamardashvili, or should they have monitored him for another season? Were they too quick? Look, I'll never be critical of anyone being decisive in decision making. You may say it's the right or wrong decision, but we were decisive in that moment. So, you know, I think it would be unfair of me to say that I didn't think it was a good move when we did it. You know, I questioned the Kelleher part of it, but the fee that we paid, about €30 million or so, for him after the Euros that he had, I think it was prudent of the club to try to secure his services. But what happens after his form this season with Valencia, I don't know, is the honest answer. I don't like the uncertainty around the goalkeeping department, though. I'd like some clarity on that one from the club about what the plans are there for next season. Adam, how are you, mate? Said, alright, bro, I reckon we got new goalkeeper, so if we sell Kelleher and Gomez, pure profit as both are homegrown, allows for bigger spend this summer on players. Yeah, fair point. I guess we wouldn't have really maximised Kelleher's valuation because, of course, he's only got 1 year to go on his deal, so probably we'll only see maybe 60% of what he's really worth. But it's a very fair point you've made. Both would be pure profit. Both are homegrown players. Yeah, I think it's a really fair point you've made. anything that can give us more spending power without having to cash in on regular starters, I think would be welcomed by fans. And look, if we're going to have as big a summer as we're all hoping for, some of that is going to have to come from fringe player sales. But I just hope it doesn't drag out. So we're still hoping all summer and expecting this. I think I want decisiveness from the club again around this summer's transfer window, and I want us to get cracking early with it. David, lovely to see you, my man. I'm alright, bro. I'm alright. I'm delighted to be back streaming. I missed everybody when I was away for the week. Right, more news, because I still have more news I haven't got through yet, so bear with me. So Ben Foster on his Fozcast podcast said, and I disagree with Ben on this one, I think VVD is going to go. I think they're all going to go. There's been too much negativity around Liverpool recently, and if they had done it, they would have used it. They have 2 weeks, in my opinion, or it's over. And look, whilst I disagree with what Ben thinks of the situation with regards to the outcome, I don't disagree with him around the negativity around the club, which was entirely avoidable for me. It feels a very strange situation as a Liverpool fan to be absolutely over the moon about winning the league when we didn't really expect it. Yes, we feel frustrated, going out of the Champions League and losing the League Cup final, but he's right about the negativity. Loads of fans have been frustrated by having this dark cloud hanging over what would be, and what is, a tremendous season. And that annoys lots of us. But I do disagree with Ben on this one. I think Virgil stays, but he's right about negativity around it. That was avoidable for me, that negativity around the club. And I think we have to be honest and admit that there has been some. And it is, some of it, a problem of the club's own making. Dylan said, is a combined contract extension, new kit launch on the cards? No, and let me explain why. Because the new kit launch won't be till the 1st of August. Whatever way Liverpool's deal with Nike concludes, they're not going to be able to unveil the new Adidas stuff until August the 1st, I believe. But interestingly, you've probably seen lots of posts from the journalists, I think James Pearce tweeted about it, that Liverpool are going to extend the club's store at Anfield. They're going to extend it, I think, by 4,000 square foot. And they also said that they hope that the work will be done by August. And that coincides with Adidas coming back and the launch of all the Liverpool Adidas stuff. So I'm wondering, and maybe I'm hoping, that the club are going to extend the club shop, lash in loads of Adidas retro gear and stuff, and then have a big unveiling of both the club's improved store, which is already a very impressive store at Anfield, and the Adidas stuff. So yeah, that's me putting 2 and 2 together there, and hopefully coming up with 4. Mary said it's also split the fan base. Yes, we're in need of a moral win at the minute as fans. And look, the league title will go a long way, but I think it's fair to say that there's been a cloud hanging over the season at times, not knowing the futures of 3 of our big players. Craig's declaring bankruptcy August 2nd. Probably, Mukrab. Yeah, probably, mate. You know me, I love me Adidas gear. And Adidas Liverpool retro gear, yeah, that's going to be a problem for the bank account, definitely. Dylan said, unlike you, Craig, not much of an Adidas fan. I'm kind of like that about Nike, though. I love Nike trainers, don't get me wrong. I love my Air Max, and I've got plenty of pairs of Jordans, but I don't know, man. I just love Adidas, and it feels like a good fit, Adidas and Liverpool. It just feels right. David said, do you really feel our owners are going to spend big this summer? I don't. They can't even sort out the contract with Hughes and Edwards. So, look, the honest answer is, David, I'm not overly optimistic on them spending a load of dough, because all we can do is look at what history has told us. But I'm open to being wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I always expect to be underwhelmed by FSG, because I've always been underwhelmed by FSG. So, you know, I think this summer is going to tell us a lot, because a lot has been written about and promised. A lot of talk about lots of money being spent. Now it's up to them to make it happen. And I don't think the fan base will accept being strung along through another window. I think it's time to shit or get off the pot right now. And it's on them now, you know. They've got to do it, or fans will rightly question the direction we're headed in. So the poll is still up, by the way, for Isak, if you haven't had a chance to vote yet. The question was, do you actually think Liverpool can get Isak? You have Jordans. Yes, I do. A couple of pairs of Jordans, mate. I love my Jordans gear. A couple of hoodies, t-shirts. I'm a bit of a... Myself and my wife have a problem with trainers. We buy too many of them. It's the one vice that we probably have. I think I've got like 5 or 6 pairs of trainers and boxes still up in the room. I'm so bad that when I really like a pair, I often buy 2 or 3 of them because I want them forever. Because I know my foot size is never changing, right? So if I think something's going to go out of stock and I really like them and I have a few spare quid, I tend to buy a couple of pairs of them. Sam Wildridge, thank you, Sam, for your super chat, mate. Appreciate you. Said, we're looking at budget signings as fans because we know how cheap FSG are after winning the league. Big club mentality. It's sad reality for us, mate. We have been conditioned to expect the bare minimum, Sam, I think. And this is why I always question why fans who maybe ask for more are belittled. You know, because we aren't idiots. We understand that we can't spend 400 million quid every summer. But, you know, we've gone through 2 transfer windows where the club have made a profit now. And we've not given Arne Slot much backing, and he still won the league this year, or will win the league this year. So I think it's incumbent upon us fans to keep speaking out about this and voicing your displeasure if we're strung along for another window without these signings. I think there's a lot of people right now who may be on the fence about the direction the club's going in and are looking for some assurances this summer that the owners do really want success. So let's wait and see what happens. Nomad said PSG got lucky with the Jordan collaboration. Yeah, some of that gear is gorgeous. J Mew said favourite meal in Spain. Fish and chips. Not even joking. Yeah, I'm so terrible, mate. When we go over there, I eat the same foods I eat over here. There's a lovely fish and chip shop over there that's run by a lady from the UK. And yeah, my wife will get paella. My wife will try all the Spanish food and seafood and all this stuff, man. I'm like a big kid. Fish and chips and boring stuff for me. So yeah, fish and chips. David said, I worry about Isak's injuries. Understandably. Completely understandably. It's a concern that all of... Like, if he didn't have those injury concerns, he is £150 million forward and probably next best after Haaland. Or maybe even right up there with Haaland. But unfortunately, those injuries have been more frequent than I think everybody would have wanted. Dylan said, I think Alvarez would be an absolute beast for us. Oh, so do I. Really do. I'd love Julian Alvarez. You go back to when Manchester City signed him and I said they're getting a bargain, and I think they're getting a really good player for a really good amount of money. So yeah, I'd love Alvarez at Liverpool. And do I think it happens? Well, not really, because if you've seen the I think it was the sporting director of Atleti say that they're not selling Alvarez. He's part of the club's plans moving forward, which is understandable. They paid a very significant amount of money for him only last summer. Kieran said, welcome back, Craig. Was a long week without the videos. Yeah, same for me. I'm great for about 3 or 4 days on holidays, Kieran. Then I get itchy feet and I want to get back working. But when the Trent story came out, I had to make a couple of videos over there on holidays, which, to be fair to the missus, she understood. But I'm glad to be back tonight and chatting with you all, because I missed you all over the week. Adam said, yeah, the club's got to move quickly this summer, and based off what I've read, Julian Ward was dealing with the contracts so Hughes can focus on the summer. Sweet. Well, let's hope we get the positive summer that we're all hoping for, because, you know, I'm just happy today to read about the Virgil and Mo stuff, and I hope that this comes to fruition. And there's enough credible journalists saying enough positive things that makes me feel a bit more upbeat around it. So, sorry, I'm trying to... Kirkes. We haven't spoke about Kirkes yet, and I did say I was going to do a little bit on him. So, Fabrizio Romano was speaking about Milos Kirkes and Liverpool's interest, and he said, it's not something guaranteed, not something close or advanced at this stage. It's still early. I think it'll take weeks/months before we understand where he's heading. For sure, Liverpool are interested. You would hope that if he does leave Bournemouth, that Liverpool would be priority number one for Kirkes, because his mate is here in Dominic, and we need a left back, and we need a left back with a lot of his attributes. So I hope that he's the guy at left back. But, you know, Nuri's another name that's been mentioned quite a bit, and we're going to have to wait and see. But I do hope that we act quickly and try to get Kirkes, because Bournemouth have brought in Julio Soler, which was, I think, seen, at least from the outside, as the successor for when they sell Kirkes. And they brought him in January to ease him in, I guess, over the remainder of the season. Can I summarise the Mo and Virgil updates? Absolutely, Dylan. No problem, mate. No problem. Just before I do, just something else from David Ornstein about the left-back situation. He said, right now, I think left-back is a bigger priority than right-back, given not only the options you mentioned, but the market possibilities. I'm not saying that if Trent leaves, they definitely won't replace him this summer. I just don't know if it's going to be top of the to-do list right now. You imagine one of AOR/KT will have to leave for recruitment to happen. I think it'll be Costas, to be honest, of those two at left back, but the heavy links to Kirkes indicate this is an area of greater focus than right back for Liverpool for the time being. So, on the Mo and Salah stuff, so it started to come out that an Egyptian journalist said, let me just get you his exact wording, Mohamed Salah's renewal with Liverpool is more advanced than ever before after Liverpool made a higher offer. And that comes in from Mazraoui. So that was then backed up by another Egyptian who said he's a very reliable journalist. But then David Ornstein, speaking about Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk, said Liverpool are optimistic that both will renew their contracts and that it's just a matter of time. And I certainly hope that that's the case, because that would make me feel a lot better about the situation right now, especially with the news around Trent this week. A couple of things from Fabrizio Romano and Gimme Sport said, expect important proposals to arrive from Liverpool and Arsenal for Alexander Isak. So there you go. Mutz, say what you see, said, plus no African Cup of Nations for Kirkes, better deal. Look, Kirkes feels like the right fit, at least from what we're seeing, from the way he plays the position, the assists that he can put in, the work rate that he has, the fact obviously he's Premier League tried and tested now. It just feels like Kirkes would be the obvious answer there. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go record an update video with a couple of news stories in there as well that have only just started to come into me here in the last few minutes. So we're going to talk about these in a video that's going to be out in about 15-20 minutes time. Hope you get a chance to watch it. Again, if you can hit the like button for me before you head off, would really, really appreciate it if we can get up to 1,000 likes for the first stream back. And again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support as well. And again, to reiterate, I'm going to say this once more because apparently it needs saying. I never want, or I would hope none of you go and abuse anybody on my behalf or attack any journalists on my behalf. I'm quite capable of saying what I need to say myself. I don't think this needs saying to you guys, but apparently it needs repeating publicly from Mr. I'm going to the police. But there you go. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Much love. Bye-bye.